the Off-Road family. This is going to be part 1 of a series which is essential bug out bag camping like equipment that you can make at home. This is how to make a camping candle. Basically it's an easily lightable fire that can help you start a bigger fire, or you could boil some water on it, and they last quite a long time. They're quite good. So let's get on with it, shall we? What you'll need is a tuna tin, or any tin will do. This is like the sort of size of a small cat food tin. Any size is absolutely fine, you just have to change the size of the materials you're using. Some tea light candles, and these are so cheap now, and the cheaper ones are the best, and I'll show you why in a minute. A pot to melt down the wax in. I am using just a small tin. I've pinched a little pour bit on, so it'll make my life a bit easier. Some matches, and then a mat for when you pour in your wax. You don't want it going everywhere, so that's essential. Okay, the reason I say that the cheaper tea light candles are the best is because they've got the wick is just poked through a little hole, so it's easy to just take it out. When I used to make these, they had the wicks actually in the candle, and you had to actually boil the whole lot up and then take all the wicks out. So it's a lot easier when they're like this. So I've got, I hope, enough here. It's sort of like you just estimate, see what's what, and you know. Okay, now you need to melt this wax, but because I'm recording, I'll have to do that in a second. What you want to do now is cut some cardboard about the same height as your tin, so about there. I'm only going to estimate it, and it doesn't have to be neat. The first ever one I made, I just ripped it and put it in like that, and it worked quite well because it was all jaggedy edges. Whether that made much of a difference, I don't know. Okay, so that's all we need. And now what you want to do is you want to just wind it up. And then if this isn't enough to fill the tin, you just cut yourself another strip, and so on. That's one. I think I'll probably only do 2, because I don't want it too thick with cardboard. Now, the cardboard basically acts as your wick. Let's see what this is like. So it's like that. I'm half tempted to put a little bit more in. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'll cut one more up and we'll see how that is. Obviously, if you've got a longer piece of cardboard, you can just keep cutting. But I just ripped this off the side of a box because we're sorting the attic out, so I had some boxes left over. I always seem to be up in the loft, sorting one thing or another out. It's because I got too much stuff, because I'm always doing videos and I always need stuff around to do the videos up with, you know. Okay, that's a little tight, So I will cut off a tiny bit of the outer one, just to give it a little bit more room. Now it doesn't really matter, to be honest, you can pack it tight, but I always prefer to have a little bit more wax to make it a little bit better. The thing as well with this is it is fairly waterproof because it's completely covered in wax. It is, it can get quite wet as long as you then just turn it upside down, let the water drip off it for a bit, and then try again, try to light it then. Right, there we go, that's better. And we'll just let it all separate out so we can get wax all in between it. Now, I've never seen this done, but the way I like to then do my camping candles is, I don't know if I even mentioned matches, but you need matches. And let's just see what height they are. And then what I do is I stab them. I stab a few around the centre. Now these are safety matches, so they need a striker, and I'll show you what you do with that in a minute. Now, you don't have to do this at all, you don't have to put any matches in it at all, and if you do decide to, you can put as many as you want or as few as you want in. It doesn't really matter. I just find the lighting process is a lot easier if you've got something like this in there. There we go. Not sure if you can even see them because they're quite well camouflaged, but that's that part of it done. So now what we need to do is melt the wax. Now don't discard this box yet. So I'll go and melt the wax and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so there's the wax melted. As you can see, it's gone down a hell of a lot. It's about half, just under half full. So if you use that as your sort of, if you fill it up to the top, it's going to half fill. You'll know how much you can use. Now, there's many ways of melting wax. One thing you could do is put it on a hot radiator for a couple of hours. I put it on the hob, which is quite dangerous. If you're going to put it on the hob, make sure you ask whoever owns the blinking cooker, because if you make a mess of that, they're not going to be happy. Right, carefully now, I'm going to pour it into this, and I want to cover the entire thing, and I'm going to zoom you in as best I can to that. Okay, now I'm just going to start off by filling up the centre. I've worked my way out to the outside. Now, that was not enough. So what I'm going to do now is go, oh, stuck in my hand. Go and get some more tea light candles and do the whole process again. Basically you want to fill it right to the top, so that's what I'm going to do. Something I find pretty amusing with these really, really cheap ones is if you snap them in half and squeeze, you can turn them into powder, which I didn't know was actually possible. But I'm not actually this strong, you know, I'm not able to turn wax into powder. Not normally anyway, not without a blender or a mortar and pestle or something. So that's a bit odd. But it'll make the melting process quicker. I just thought I'd share that with you. Okay, let's try that again. I do apologise if you hear snoring. My dog is having a lovely little set of doggy dreams. She's been doing the running in the forest, kind of, in the meadow. Now I'm trying to fill all the bits up that I can. I'll give you a close-up view in a minute. Oops, I'm spilling it everywhere now. Let's have a look. Okay, we sprung a bit of a leak, but that's not a problem at all. And there's some left, but I always have a little bit left over, and I just use it the next time I do it, because I'm always making certain things out of candles, you know, out of wax. There's a lot of different camping utilities you can make, so I'll probably make some more stuff in the future. Now basically we just got to wait for that to dry, well yeah, to dry and harden, and then we're virtually done. Back soon. Okay, I've given it quite a bit of time to cool off and harden. I put it in some water to actually quicken it up, and ironically enough it got wet inside. It has no bearing on it at all. As I say, it's pretty much completely waterproof. I will have to wait for it to actually dry out because I don't know how deep the water got and whether there was wax in there at the time. As you see these little holes, I should have filled that with wax, but again, it doesn't really matter. It's one of these things that it's got a lot of forgiveness. Now, the next part of this, and the last part of this, and the reason I said to keep this was we want one side of the striker. So let me just cut that off without cutting myself. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick it to the side of the thing this way round, and I'm going to cover it in sellotape so it's waterproof too to some degree. And then what you can do is, in an emergency situation, and you know, or just taking it out your pack, you take this off and rubbing it against the matches, which are waterproof themselves because they've been covered in a little layer of wax. It will ignite them, and then they'll start igniting the cardboard. What you might have to do is just give them a little scratch on the top of the matches just to get the first bit of wax off, and then do it. But I'm going to stick that to there, and then I will wait until daylight because it's the middle of the night at the moment, and I will show you this in the next video, it working, and maybe boil a kettle or something with it. But I'll stick this on. That is the last bit. I'm using sellotape that will cover the entirety of the cardboard. There we go. So now that is on there. It's all safe, secure and everything. And in an emergency then you can just peel that off. It should be, you know, relatively waterproof. If you had this soaking in water for a few days, then obviously it won't be. But you can just peel that off and ignite it. As I say, we'll do that in another video. I'll leave that here for now. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any suggestions, comments, questions, or something you'd like to see, please leave it in the comments section and I will reply to everyone as I can. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.